Most programs that you write will have some kind of output or information that is communicated outside of the program. It could be sent to another program, to the person using the program, the user, or somewhere else. The most basic kind of output is simple text that is displayed to the screen. In this video, we'll talk about displaying basic text information using the print function. The first lesson in almost every programming language will start with how to display the text "Hello World" or some variation. In this example, we'll demonstrate how to display the text "Welcome to CSE 110." This is the very first program that we'll write, so I'm going to create a new folder on my computer to store the various programs that we'll write together. If you already have a folder for this course, you can skip this step. But if not, you'll want to create a folder that's in a place where you can find it easily and where you can store all of the things that you'll write during this course. So to do this, I'm going to open up on my computer a new Finder window on the Mac, or use Windows Exploring tool, or whatever you need to do. And then you can figure out where you want to put that. Maybe you want to put it in your documents. And then perhaps you want to create a new folder called Homework. And within there, I could create one called CSE 110. It's really important to think about how you're going to organize your files. So now back in VS Code, I can open this folder, and I can do it on the welcome page here by clicking open and browsing to it, or by saying file and then clicking open from the menu system. So I'll click open, and then I'll browse out to this one, Documents, Homework, CSE 110, and open the folder. And I'm going to select the folder. In the future, when you have files in there, you could select the file directly, but I actually recommend selecting the folder. That way, you'll be able to easily see and run all of the files that you have in there. So now that I've opened this folder, I can create a new file in it. And I can do this by either selecting File and then a new file up here from the menu system, or I can select this new file icon here. And I'll actually show you how to do it both ways. So first I'm going to select the new file icon. And now it gives me the chance to type in the name. I'm going to name this welcome_program.py. Now, there are a few important things I want to point out about this name. You can generally name the program anything you like, but notice that I am using a .py extension. This is important because it tells VS Code that this file will have code in it that's written in the Python language. Also, notice that my program name has two words, welcome and program. But rather than put a space in the file name, I used an underscore. While spaces can work, sometimes they do create a little extra hassle down the road, so most people avoid putting spaces in their program file names, and they try to just keep them really simple, with only lowercase letters, numbers, and underscores, and they try not to use any other symbols or anything like that. Now, if I would have created this using the File menu, I could say File and New File like this, and then up here, I get a chance to create something, so to put the name in. So maybe I'll put in welcome_program2.py. And this is going to ask me where I want to put it. So I'll need to make sure to browse out to that CSE 110 folder, and I'll create the file there. Now I can see both files in my folder here. So I'm going to go ahead and click the first one, Welcome Program, and I have a new empty file that's ready for instructions. In this program, I can include all kinds of instructions that you'll learn about during this course. And when the program runs, it will start at the top and it will go down the list and follow each instruction exactly as you've written it. The first kind of instruction we'll learn about is one that displays text output on the screen. This uses a built-in function called print. Print will take whatever you give it and display it. To use it, you type the name print, like this, and then you put parentheses, like that. Then inside the parentheses, you give it the message that you want to display in quotation marks. So let's give it the message, welcome to CSE 110. And now I'm going to make sure to save this every time before I try to run it. So I'm going to do save, or oftentimes I'll hit Control S or Command S on the Mac. Whenever we use functions in Python, there will be parentheses that follow the function name. What goes inside the parentheses is information that we want to send to the function. In this example, we're sending it some text, or in programming terms, we call that a string. A string is just a sequence of characters that's used to represent text, and we'll talk about them more in other videos. So now that I have a file with the .py extension and some code in there, I can tell the computer to run the program using Python. And in VS Code, I should see up here a triangle, which is the play button. And when I click this, it will run my program. So I click it, and it brings up this terminal window. It has a few other things here about how it was getting to the right folder and running the program. And then you see right there the text that I typed in. This is great. We can see it right there. So before we leave this, I want to point out a couple of other things about this. One is that you could change from double quotes to use single quotes instead. And that's because in Python, single and double quotes are actually interchangeable. Other programming languages treat them differently, but Python doesn't. But it's best to be consistent. I use double quotes because that's what I learned. But you can use whatever you want as long as you're consistent. I can run this again, and sure enough, it works the same way. Okay, let's add one more line. So first, I'm going to change this back to double quotes so that I'll be consistent here. And then I could print, this is going to be a great course. Now when I run the program, I'll see both lines displaying here. First, welcome to CSE 110, and second, this is going to be a great course. If you want, you could use an empty print statement. You still need to put the parentheses, but I could leave it empty in there. In this case, it will just print a blank line. Welcome to CSE 110, a blank line, and then the second message. And with that, you can now write your very first program. We'll learn more tools throughout the course, but they'll all follow this same basic pattern.